was to force a narrow cylinder of soil up the inside of the tube, and normally they could get down to the full length of 6 feet with steady pressure. However, this time the tube went down as far as the joint at the 3-foot level and stopped abruptly. Louise muttered an unladylike curse. "Buggeries! Another stone, I expect." Geraint gave a couple of futile wiggles to the upper part of the tube, but further pressure made no impression on the penetration. "It's no good. We'll have to haul it out and try again a couple of feet away," ordered his senior companion. The crossbar was now at waist height, and the student hauled it upwards, then grasped the tube and pulled the rest of it out of the soggy ground. "Do you want to keep the core that's in it?" he asked, and got a scathing look in response. "No, of course not. Every sample has to be from the same depth range. Push the damn thing out." With hands on hips, she watched as her slave laid the tube on the ground and, with a narrower tube with a blanked-off end, forced out a cylinder of black peat, which had the consistency of a Christmas pudding. Except that, unexpectedly, the bottom 2 inches of the core was almost white instead of black. "What the devil's that?" he asked, crouching down for a closer look. Louise did the same, then reached to her side to take a small metal spatula from the haversack. Prodding the core with it, she separated the white material from the peat and rolled it onto the back of a notebook. "This looks like some sort of animal material, not vegetation," she announced. "Maybe we've speared a dead sheep," volunteered the student. "There are plenty of those about here, and some must die and end up in the bog." Louise peered more closely at the greyish-white cylinder, half the length of her little finger and about the same thickness. "It seems to be some sort of fatty wax," she declared. Geraint shrugged and began to get to his feet. "Some sort of long dead animal," he said dismissively. "We'd better get on and finish these holes. I could do with my lunch." The woman ignored him and continued to prod at the lump of material. "There seems to be a tough, dark layer on top, almost like a skin." "Well, sheep have skin, don't they?" Instead of answering, Louise took a pair of tweezers from her bag and picked something from the bottom end of the peat core, from where she had taken the white substance. She held it up towards her reluctant assistant. "But sheep don't have bits of twine on them, do they?" Geraint looked at her blankly. "What are you trying to say?" Louise took one of her small bottles from the haversack and carefully slid the white material inside, together with an inch of what appeared to be frayed cord. "I think there may be a human body under there." The young man looked at her as if she had suddenly gone off her head. "Why on earth do you say that? Far more likely to be a sheep, if in fact it is animal tissue and not some fungus or something." "Nonsense. I've been reading about these bog bodies they've been finding in Denmark recently. This could be one of those." Geraint Williams showed that he was not so ignorant as he appeared. "Oh, you mean like that Tolland man they found a few years ago? They were prehistoric, surely." "Well, Iron Age, anyway," she replied, excitement breaking through her usual cool nature. "It would be great if this was another one. I'd get my doctorate just for being famous." "Much more likely to be a sheep," muttered her student. "Why should it be an ancient corpse?" Louise held up her jar for a closer look. "That skin has gone dark, just like the Danish people described. It's due to staining from the tannins in the peat." "And what about that bit of cord? What's that got to do with it?" persisted Geraint, a Jonah determined to bring her down to earth. "That's what made me think of it," she snapped. "Some of these bog bodies were found with cords around their necks, probably ritual strangulation." Geraint's eyebrows rose at this. "Strangulation? You're reading a hell of a lot into finding a bit of something half the size of a cocktail sausage." Louise rose to her feet and started to repack her haversack. "Whatever it is, we'll have to tell someone about it straight away," she said with typical decisiveness. "I suppose it had better be the local police. Not that they'll be all that interested in a 2,000-year-old murder." The bog was bounded on the seaward side by the dead-straight railway and road that ran a stone's throw from the 2 miles of beach. At the southern end was the small town of Borth, a popular holiday resort. A one-street ribbon settlement